housing developers, the banks, members of the community who are interested in the development of affordable housing in the Ukiah redevelopment area. And that committee has been beneficial, I think, in terms of reviewing projects, soliciting for projects, for housing projects within the area, and has been very successful up until recently of spending that money on excellent projects, some of which you've seen examples of today. So I think that I've talked with your CEO generally about it, but I think having a committee of committed individuals who are active in the community and know what the community's needs are and resources are can be really helpful for pushing to get the affordable housing actually built. The other point to be aware of is that one of the obligations of the redevelopment agency is to increase the amount over the time of the agency of affordable housing. There's not just a replacement. If the agency is responsible for destroying some housing that was affordable, there are replacement obligations, but there's also an obligation over the period of time to increase the amount of housing. So that's something to be aware of. That's in addition to whatever your global housing needs are from your housing element, but it's just within the agency itself that there is that obligation. So that's another thing to keep in mind. And I guess going back to one of my earlier points, which is to understand the law right from the get-go, we've been involved with over a 10-year long federal lawsuit with the city of Clear Lake for misusing their redevelopment money, particularly their low-mod affordable housing money. And at this point have an admission, not in the record, but an admission that they've misspent again $2 million. So there can be big problems caused from just absolute lack of understanding, lack of taking the time to really pay attention to what's going on. And I watched the interested looks on your faces today, and I find that promising. I'd also just to point out, the City of Ukiah, despite being around for a long time and have been doing some really great work, they also misspent almost about $1 million on funding the homeless center, the 4th Street project, which was a misuse of the affordable housing funds under state law. So there are gaps that can be made, and I urge you to work with your county council, work with our office. We're really eager because we see that, as you've been hearing, this is a fabulous source of funding to meet the affordable housing needs in our community, particularly when times are so tight right now with other funding sources. Thanks.
Supervisor. Do you have a question on the speaker?
Yeah, I may have been up here, but how have we settled on the 4.2 million at this time? I mean, can we expand that or reduce that according to one formula?
Our consultant that's working with us is taking a look at the cash flow that's coming in, working with the auditor's office, and we've been extremely conservative going to that number because we're not sure about what the state is doing to us. So at the point we get ready to talk about that with the redevelopment board's approval to engage in that project, we'll need to incur bond counsel, and we'll do an analysis and see how much exactly we can borrow. So,
is there a formula for this that is based on? I mean, what are the parameters of identifying this? Does it have anything to do with the likelihood of being able for the bond to be sustained or to be approved? Or is it tied more to the flow of cash in or out of the tax base that was generated over time by the properties?
Second answer would be, more correct answer would be, it is tied to a cash flow analysis of how much money is coming in to the redevelopment area, and that's we're borrowing against that.
And then the other question is there any effort or any attention paid in this formulation to say the likelihood of seeing a bond issue like this meet muster approval?
Preliminary discussions, there's probably a half dozen people interested in those bonds right now. So they are sought after because they are secured by a property tax increment. received very well in the marketplace. The trick is to get the right bond counsel and to get the loan done at the cheapest rate possible.
And we're talking about how many people there may be the right, how many competitors for this, what kind of input are we getting?
We're seeing as many as half dozen people are interested according to bond counsel and the financial advisors. So there is a good market for that. I think we'll make sure the numbers we use are on the conservative side rather than overstating our potential.
Thank you.
Supervisor.
Because this bond, this loan would be actually, like you mentioned, they're really sought after bonds because they're really tied to the security of the property, right? So, but this bond actually, it doesn't take, have to pass the 218 muster, it can be done by the Board of Supervisors.
It's done by the redevelopment agency.
Well, we are the redevelopment agency, but I'm just saying that the redevelopment agency has the power to put a lien on their property without going through the 218 process.
That's correct.
My primary question of this is, would it be prudent for the redevelopment agency to go out and borrow a fund of money, knowing that the state has the ability to come and raise it? I mean,